kind of on the brink of being that team in NA, and maybe a little bit of org funding is exactly what they needed. But I want to talk a little bit more about the bad news Capybaras, because this is an interesting bag where it's another team who is scrapping with some of the best the region has to offer, taking them out off of the Blue Jays earlier in the season, but I'm not sure what they currently sit as, because they're not with Laffy T's, and I'm not sure if that's a permanent change or if it's just a temporal one. However, for now, it's MDS, who with them on hit the team, have been on a hot streak.
Yeah, and I guess talk about like the land readiness thing. That aspect that you're kind of referencing is they've been at Fragadelphia's quite consistently as of recently. I mean, Boss, when they had Cryptic, Freshie, Brett, Darty, and Dia, that was a weird little mix that it had begun at. That was at Fragacago of 2023. Now we come all the way to this point where this roster has certainly had their LAN experience. They've hit a top 4 actually at Fragacago this year, this core of bad news Capybaras, but now needing to show that they can go individually toe-to-toe with the biggest and best in the division, and already looking pretty good, but just one trait off from CT Spawn from being able to fight back and out. MDS on this flank never got the chance to activate.
And at this point, it's kind of a lost cause unless somehow MDS can snag this one away. I think there's a kit somewhere in CT Spawn, but again, you've got to go into the Hornet's Nest if you want to even get close. And now, that last piece of information given over, it doesn't feel like this one's going to be very confident for the Capybaras, but hell, who knows. Time running thin, though, and they're not giving him an inch, let alone any more than just a quick peek. Nice shot onto Dumao, but till he gets that second trade on the Sads, and it was pretty much all set in stone, as is Legacy. Coming out the gate swinging, a quick A-pop, running down CT Spawn, not letting the Capybaras breathe. Not exactly a great omen to start off the map.
Not really. Though, I mean, damage is decent enough to where I guess they can justify going for an investment here. I think that they realize they're kind of on the back foot a little bit, right? Maybe making these kinds of decisions seem a little bit, what would the word be? I guess desperate, but I think that's kind of the point, right? I think that they know that they kind of need to get these rounds in swing above all else, because this isn't a best of 3. That's not how the format works. They can't really look forward to another map. They have to be able to pull rounds immediately. And Lux, speaking of immediately, it's less than 20 seconds time to dwindle off the clock, and top mid pressure from the singular from Oz isn't going to work out, but J-Chance's Deagle is given room to work with towards the A site. Over top side stairs, quickly encroached upon by Khan.
To force by it with pretty much no hitches whatsoever. It's exactly what you want to see on the end of the winning team. And now Seabass doesn't really have a re-entrance back into this. Maybe a couple of shots through smoke, but should be about it. It's still taking fights here. I'm surprised, man, but Dumao is showing confidence early on. Hell, everybody from Legacy is.
Dude, Lotto at A main, he turned to his right, hearing footsteps, and he thought a CT had maybe bypassed him. Lux had 1 health. If he accidentally tapped, he would have just killed him. That would have been really funny. It didn't end up coming through, but it's those little things you notice that obviously they'd be giggling about if you saw entering the kill feed. Lotto kills Lux for fun.
I always think looking at the duality of like teams and current emotions is always really funny, because when you're on one end of like a really good game, like for instance, let's say Legacy went up like 7-8-2 or something, it's always going to be like one small mistake from Legacy and they're laughing it off, and something like that happens for the Capybaras and they're just tilted to no end.
Right.
Like,
I see what you're saying. But then I guess it depends on the team too, because there might be some instances where they're just so far removed from the game already, where it's like, say, like 10-0 or something, and that happens to them and they still lose. Some teams will laugh. Some teams will be tilted. So. Oh, his 5-7 is absolutely sporadically crushed 2 kills, but good lord, Dumao had to be there to trade, or else that was an AK-47 for usage, and repositioning, not made in time, but good god, if it wasn't an expensive one. They get their op actually by virtue of kills alone, I think. This thing was dropped.
I believe it was bought, but the point is,
okay.
I mean, it still helped them, right? Those 4 kills, it puts them in this spot right now where Legacy, they didn't get a bomb plant last round. They don't have that little bit of extra oomph behind themselves, and now you could potentially see a save right on the opposite end of this round if it goes the way of the Capybaras, even if it's a close, contentious one. Big news, especially when you factor in what you said, J-Chance getting that op out very, very early on, but this one feels a little more defaulty from the Capybaras, not opting to fight for anything around the board, just playing their basic protocols. Seabass and Khan got J-Chance around him in case they try to take. And right now it's just a battle of utility in which Seabass wants no part in, just backs into the site and secedes Khan control.
Now, in the first 3 rounds we've seen here, including this one I'm actually making it 4, Legacy have taken their mid-control so lightning quick that Bad News Capybaras never really get a chance to activate anywhere else into the map. They don't have the ability to take pressure in towards A main or Palace because they have to focus on that connector walkthrough. In this round in particular, they only just get there from spawn side with attention, and they've already swatted away every kill. It's nobody amidst that defensive that's able to put up much of anything. They show their teeth, Legacy, and there is some bark, as well as their bite, and BNC really as the actual animals in this server, seemingly cowering away and hiding for the winter.
And this is a problem, right? Because Legacy know how low these last 2 players are. They know they at least got some shots off on them. Look at these hunts already. So aggressive. They didn't even bother staying around the site because they got the confirmation early on. Gabe, next up, and now there's pretty much nowhere left to go in safety. MDS actually drops Sadzin down lower, and that's the op potentially moving back. Both running him down, though. Best you can do is fight on your own terms and maybe take an extra gun or 2 away. Legacy, though, having none of it. And hey, what we thought could be an X factor for the Capybaras is just falling into the lap of Legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Nah, I mean, they're just chilling with pistols once more. And I want to see, again, okay, so last round, it was 15 seconds, and they already had a player bottom con Legacy. So I want to see how quickly they can do it here. It was more like 17 or 18 seconds, but I'm not
Point is fast
here. Yeah.
And when you think about a round like that where they aren't going to have a lot of util coming in, it's hard to stop.
Yeah, let's see it here. Okay, so 145, and it looks like he's about to walk up towards Cat. So yeah, less time than the last round, and they've already gotten to this same point into the mid-control, and yeah, they're just going to waltz through. It's one after another. There's nothing really at a distance that they can really be upset with in taking the ranged game. Wisely enough, actually, from Cat into Con as opposed to the other way around. This is where things get a little bit problematic if they decide to fully commit. The 5-7's up close and personal. The Deagle can pop off shots with contact taking, but once that first pistol has been toppled, there's no room to fall back and away. He's pincered from all sides, and MDS is once more left as last alive.
I was still on the back of Sadzin, stays around a little bit longer than he might be comfortable with, but eventually he'll just walk his way right up and in, get the plant down, and have really no other thoughts about this round. MDS looking for any scrapings of a weapon, AK handed. I think he's just going to walk away with that, or at least he's going to try until he realizes Nissim is still in mid, waiting in Delpan the whole round.
It's 4 alive. Same formula, time and time again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Honestly, that's how I feel about Mirage personally. I think the only time that really is a difference is when you want to try something knowing that the buy is different from any that you faced yet before, and they've already faced the AWP of J-Chance. They've already employed the tactic that's been winning them 5-0 with their opponents. So why shift now? I mean, this is just singular player in Nissim. Actually, no, joined by everybody. They are changing it up. Maybe this is actually going to come back to haunt them. I hope that it doesn't for their sake, but J-Chance is towards that A end, and he hasn't been given a whole lot of opportunity with his sniper in rounds previous. Now is time.
He's going to have to do everything because the Capybaras fully bit down under the fact that Legacy were going to take mid in this round, and a 1-for-1 trade is not what you're looking for right now. The op still stands in CT spawn, but it's just a couple of quick crossings. Throw a molly in, flush him out, really make J-Chance uncomfortable as he goes in for a swing, and again, it's a 1-for-1 trade. Their whole A-site defense is fallen.
You see 3 players just looking in mid-window, trying to spot out anybody who's either a late lurker or when they had sheer numbers, but here comes the Sadzin sniper rifle. Now it's his turn. He's traded out. He's gotten a deep position with a shadow advantage for Nissim to take the first of 2 tools. It's a head-up, head-down that almost catches him, but not going to be the case now as he is located to both of them. The one, an op stuck at firebox, leaving Nissim to walk over topside stairs and attempts to trade, and he's quick about it, and it's more than good enough for me, as they still walk away with only 1 player alive, Legacy, but it doesn't really matter to me when the round count is what matters most.
Yeah, and they're in the heads of the Capybaras, too. You look at the start of this round, it was the Capybaras instantly going in for mid-control. They couldn't fight it with utility, so they tried to fight it with bodies. It was a gamble, and Legacy, it worked out well for them. You said it yourself. It was just J-Chance in CT with that op, and everything fell apart after 1-for-1s didn't go their way. There was a moment in time when it was at 3-on-2, smokes were up. Maybe there's a world they go in for a nice positioning retake, but then it's just swings and swings from CT spawn. Nissim getting opportunity after opportunity, and even without a bomb plant, it didn't really seem like much of an issue for Legacy. So I honestly think moving forward, that's just got to be the focal point of contention, right? Battling back with util in these early rounds, not necessarily having to throw so many bodies at the problem.
This is a bit of a weird way to call it almost symmetrical with an A1S on both Gabe and ADS and pistols.
Oh my!
Sandwich them, but that's pretty impressive from Gabe on the faster swing. It's Lotto who's left now with the bomb dropped to the floor, to which Sadzin, he'll recruit and retrieve. Actually, no, it was Sadzin holding it the whole time, but I don't think it ever got spotted. So, I mean, it's still fine. And look, again, in the first, like, 15 seconds, they've already gotten up connector. Sadzin, he's flushed back from spawn side and found a player deep entrenched into the T route. I don't quite know how he even managed to get there, but the walkthrough, nevertheless, will be welcomed for them if they can find just one more kill. And it's a Deagle of 5-7 and 15 health, and the singular, I believe, is still in hands of Seabass that's yet to be made active. Oh, that would have been nuts. That would have been absolutely nuts.
Yeah, with Gabe dropping, this is starting to turn from bad to worse. Lux is still looking at connector. It's not like Seabass is going to get away with this one. Oh my god, though. Nice shot, Jay Chance. And this is possible. One bullet from either one of these players, it's over, but they're playing it wisely, crossing back to connector, or rather ramp. Again, not offering to take these duels. It's a very big duality between what we've seen in these two teams in crunch time in this angle from Lux's DV. Jay Chance going to hard clear it, but not the right way, not fully confident, and that's what gives it to Legacy ultimately, even though it was likely theirs to begin with. This is a stomp so far, and the Capybaras just, it feels like they can't get ahead of the curve here.
I don't even know you can call it a curve. It's more of a flat line in more ways than one. I don't really feel a pulse. It's Jay Chance who's been giving it his best, giving it his all, and really making some, I'd say, good decisions in spots where there aren't very many decisions to be made that won't get you killed regardless. Like playing off of that position as deep CT spawn that last round we'd seen him with the sniper for a double kill. That was as good as it was ever going to get, if not better. I think even one kill on that first swing with no flash is something Legacy won't often give up. But now, also not very often giving up man disadvantages, continuing their way forwards in this mid-bullying is really all you can call it, to where in the first 20, they've already found their 2 kills, third not too far off, and they've given only a singular life in exchange, and this is another one that just falls into the depths, and this is Beeson falling to the floor on balcony, and Grave has nothing to talk about.
Dude, I love the fact that there was just another flash there. Or I don't even know if there was, but Neesim just throws a flash in con because why not? It's so funny.
Why not reference?
You know that guy? He's a really cool dude.
Cool guy. Cool guy.
Don't know if you've ever met him.
8-0? Good God. I mean, this is a speed run. This is like this is the fastest game I think I've ever casted so far. We're less than 14 minutes in. We're like
I was gonna say because we started after 10.
Yeah, we're like 12 minutes in, and we're already almost done. I wonder if we can finish it by the 20-minute mark. I almost guarantee that we could. And this one with just pistols, I mean, they're just gonna waltz into A. And, I mean, 5-7 always dangerous, always lethal, always pushing out bullets, but this time not pushing any kills.
I mean, at this point, it's not even like they're picking the right site. They're picking the wrong site, getting the right execution. Like, they're just jumping over these 5-7s. Crosshair disruption. There's no way the Capybaras can aim straight when you have so many players to worry about. Smokes isolate the remaining 2. It's not like it's hidden that this was a stack. Legacy certainly expected, but what do you really do about it? When you've got so many players just overwhelming these measly pistols, there's not really a world you're going to come away on top.
Seabass again just sitting in sandwich there for 5-7. That's the second time we've seen that exact moment unfold. The last time, though, he was able to get 2, and that was where almost the miracles brought to life as the star had come crashing down. It actually hit him, and I mean, he wasn't able to win out on it, but even still, it was good back then. But this is a different situation entirely. The circumstances that have unfolded kind of spiral MDS into an attempted clutch here. There's not really a reason to go for a save. 3 rounds isn't going to cut it, realistically speaking, on the less desired of the 2 halves, and he knows that much. So when he swings forward for his first duel, Tubbs and a nade, he'll find that kill and bring them with only 28 HP, a 1 versus 2, and delivering is the stand-in for a first round posted.
I mean, I was going to say coming into this game, right? I don't know if I necessarily hate if the Capybaras have just essentially picked up MDS as their replacement for Laffy Tees, or if it's just a fill. But MDS does have a playing history. I don't dislike him being on this roster, especially considering he's played with them in the past. I was going to say, yeah, these guys have chemistry. And you can see the way MDS plays. Even though that was his first big rounds, you subtract those 4 kills, it still wasn't looking all that hot. He's been in the system for a while. He knows who's going to do what, who's going to go where.
Yeah.
It's the best substitute or replacement you could potentially ask for this specific set.
That's probably true. I mean, I don't disagree. I think that it's just odd to me if it were Laffy to be the one leaving specifically, because I think he's actually like playing pretty fine. But Gabe is a more long-standing member of this roster, and so is Seabass with Grave, as those two have been together since like day one. It's almost like a 3+2 thing where they've just had so many pairings of these players historically. And yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I guess he would be the odd man out, logically speaking. Laffy T's rather, that is.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the highs rode in the last round have quickly faded out into nothingness, as Grave is now finding himself in a 1-on-5, and swings two players in mid. Not really much you could have done there if you're the Capybaras. So, they have a great round. Heroic play comes through, and then Legacy just pick it apart again, and we go right back down to where we started. And this is kind of like what we were talking about, or at least what I was mentioning earlier on, about the duality of man, when emotion comes into it, when that scoreline really starts to affect you. I couldn't tell you, but it just hit me. So it's hard to pinpoint one overarching flaw that the Capybaras can maybe like adjust to fix this game. That's a good start.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Flooding up through, and I mean, almost catching the sniper off guard, but going for the full long-winded spray. It's Neeson, who hadn't entrenched himself deep enough through the apartments to commit to the site, and he can turn around on a dime. That's pretty good that he was there. It could have gotten a little bit worse if he weren't, but this is just a bit of a mismanaged peek from J-Chance, even not anticipating Sadzin to have the sliver of vision that he did, the smoke not fully coverage, and another one where we see a super majority of the team for Legacy alive. 10-1, last round of the first half, and it's a race for the top side of the board for Lux, Lotto, and Sadzin right now. In the second of three, he's the one who's getting past them in terms of the kill count, but Lux has been dishing out damage like nobody's damn business, dude. 125 ADR, and we're nearing the ends of this map to where that could very well be a number that he can maintain up until we go into the second of two.
And I've loved seeing Sadzin on this roster, even though he's now one of the more long-standing members of the
I got
core.
to
I remember back
practice against him, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, as a player.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not even as a coach. Player, why not hopped in the server?
Yep, back when I was with Fisher and we were gunning for potentially playing in our league division. We didn't end up doing that.
Oh, that's not so tasty. Lux, who's normally been so, I'd say, perfect in mid when his entrying has come in. It's just this time shut down. Could cause some problems unless Dumao bails them out with a 2K, jumping through the stairs smoke and pulling them right out of the deficit they were once in. Legacy, I mean, you've got one player low. It doesn't really matter all that much. Another molly right on the Grave. They know he's here. They know he's on top of this smoke. I thought this would be a free kill, but still is inevitably traded, knowing about MDS's whereabouts. They heard the tick. They see the shadow. The off rattles a shot, and he's starting to inch a little bit closer, but at long range, it's hard for the MP9 to do anything, and Dumao shuts it down with an 11-1 score. It's domination from Legacy in the first map.
I feel like I'm in another galaxy. Take my time in your eternity. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Feel like something new. Yeah. And I never thought that I got me wanted. Never thought that I
Well, I hope he didn't go far because there's very little left of this game really to be played. There's 2 rounds a distant between Legacy and converting this first map win. With the bad news, Capybaras having to hope at finding 11 in a row to force an overtime. But you know what? Anthran, 12 rounds would win it out 13-11. I think they could do it.
That's true. Hey, 11's all they get. That's all I'm saying. And I've never heard anybody say that before in my life, so that's got to be like a unique thing, and the Capybaras are really going to resonate with it. But so far, I'm not really favoring their odds when I look at this current setup. You've got 3 players on. You've got this great smoke and great spot with the dualies, taking a head off through the smoke. Dumao is just spamming through it and hoping for the best, but it works. And now they're in a 3-on-5 in a spot where you needed to win this pistol. Holy World was binking a couple of rounds off of some momentum here. Well, kind of hard to imagine that when even fall damage could take J Chance down if he would have accidentally jumped down into lower.
That'd be fun.
But Gabe is somehow in CT spawn. He's got this. One headshot onto the stairs player, and the site's theirs.
It's kind of theirs no matter what. I mean, he can swing on a timing, or unless he gets flushed out from spawn, that could be the big if and. But there's a nice tap down, and he can escape. Still a player to stairs who hasn't gone much farther ahead, exposing himself just enough to where he could be tapped into this P250, which has been lethal. Bomb plant at bar none. It could be something for them, but I mean, at this stage of the game, Anthran, it's kind of like that early warning bell. You can kind of tell that Legacy guys, all they see is red, and all that J Chance has is red in HP, but now he's been quickly dealt with, and beyond that much, it's a very much so made known, no utility have in grave.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but it's pretty much the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, even if they get that pistol, optimistically speaking, what you thinking like 5-6 rounds, nothing crazy. So this is, as we went into this match saying it was a map, and both maps, in fact, that Legacy needs to win this stage of ECL with only, I believe, 4 weeks remaining after this match. Maybe give or take 1 or 2. It's not exactly a spot where you can be affording to lose maps in their current standings in ECL of 7 and 9, but it looks like very shortly that's about to bump up to 8, as Legacy only have 1 small hinge on their entire map.
This is a big victory, I would have to say, as far as the season goes for them now, trying to pull ahead and, you know, say that they've got